A friend of mine once told me that under the Trade Descriptions Act, before I read, I should explain to everybody that I'm a Presbyterian from Longford. Now, I thought that was a bit harsh, but growing up with that label and as a dissenter in the heart of the Midlands was interesting, and you found yourself, without even trying, special. The Dennistons and Grays in Longford go back a long way, and as a late teenager, I was introduced to a granduncle I had called Willie Gray, a lot of his family went off to Texas, but he was a granduncle because I don't get this. Yes, he was an uncle of my father, so he was my granduncle, but he was extraordinarily eccentric. Unbelievable. There's a couple of things this poem refers to. There used to be a rates on houses by the window. Back, I think it ended maybe in the 50s, 30s, right? There was rates by window. But my granduncle Willy was so bitter about this that he knocked half his house, so he didn't have to pay the rate. This is absolutely true. You can go to the house today and see the remains of the one half. It's now the office for a pig farm. The pig farm will come in and explain. The pig farm comes in. He also used to do a strange thing. When someone called, he was extraordinarily reclusive, but he wanted sentimentality, maybe one out in the day. He wanted to see my father and the family before he died, and we were living in the town, and we drove out to the country. But when people he didn't want to called, he had a cupboard he used to stand in and close the door, and he sent his housekeeper May out to the door to say he wasn't in. So that's some philosopher. And the other thing was that after I married my wife, we discovered that my Uncle Willie, very late in life, married a woman. He was 65 when he married, right? And the woman he married was the sister of my wife's stepfather. That was a surprise. That could have been very nearly. Right, anyway. Right. This is a tribute to my Uncle Willie and indirectly to my father, who was partly just as odd, but I missed it. I want you to imagine that the last verse of this is my mother. Okay? So the last verse becomes more animated because it's my mother speaking. So it's called Odd Isn't the Word. To beat the ratesman on foot of a dream, Granduncle Willie raised half his house. He looked on from the ditch at his own sister's wedding and only joined in the heel of the hunt if it came through the Townland. The village was humbug. Tending horses and preparing firewood was where you found him. He hid in cupboards to be out for callers. A quirky, capricious, dug-in dissenter, odd as they come and mad by half, sky, stars, space came between him and his God. With tract and gospel, his brethren wife did her best to get him saved. At night, he scrutinized ranting wireless sermons. He went nowhere and she got nowhere with him. Saw the land sold over her head to a deep-litter pigman. Dying, he bought her a mini minor and asked for readings from the poet Robbie Burns. The year before we were sent a message about him wanting to see us. Beside each other, he was my father's father more than uncle. The confused, uncertain smile, the welled-up eyes, wavy hair, the high wrinkled forehead. He whispered our names, peered into eyes, shook our hands. A kind of passing out parade once or twice a month, and always on a Sunday. Willie Gray. Odd is it? Odd isn't the word. Look at your father. Is it any surprise? Odd as 2 left feet and not licked off the grass either. You're the spit of him. It's the Greys and you have it. The very same. Getting something into your head, nobody can talk to you. The very same. Disappearing when you're wanted. Turning up when you weren't asked. Giving the expected a right knocking. Just for the heck of it. The very same. Odd is it? Odd isn't the word.